So I did, an interview recently. I'm not going to say with who or anything like that, but I want to title this video, community mobbing and or blacklisting on some stuff, not everything. And this is not just in the community. This is based out of, other states, other countries I've done business with on certain accounts. So I'm going to go into what they do. Another TI put it out there perfectly. They definitely use electronic harassment, surveillance. That makes their job easier in destroying our lives. Um, the biggest thing, like I said, a legal term that they've used is this is pervasive. Yeah, it's spread out in the same, similar, if it's not the same exact tactics or similar tactics are being carried out at various different locations, geographic cities, different towns. I have had this stuff follow me for the past 16 years intensely. Like, absolutely no doubt in my mind that I'm dealing with, that I'm in this program, this governmental program, and that, I keep these videos as documentation too. What's been going on, uh, how people been acting weird, for me being really just a truth teller, being outspoken on some certain stuff, maybe a conspiracy theorist here and there on certain stuff. And I've been greatly ridiculed and blacklisted from W 2, like I said, W 2 employment. Um, I really know that, having a business here is not really what I want to do long term. Like I said recently, I plan on relocating here soon. Why would I want to stay in a toxic, environment that doesn't see my vision or doesn't even care or just wants to intervene or intercept what I'm doing? Um, they have, I will say, it's gotten a little bit better with my own business and being somewhat of a contractor, not a general contractor, but a contractor. And it's, let's just say, it's gotten barely better, which is not a surprise. They don't want it to get drastically better. They want it to barely, you see what I mean, barely get any better. So that's all consistent with, you know, um, and lately they've been trying to definitely make sure that I don't have enough money, right? Like this whole winter, I basically got scammed over 20 to max $30,000 worth. I can go back on all of them, but they've deleted some of the stuff. But at least 20 to $25,000 I got attempted scammed. Now they were not successful with one of these scams. They've tried to send me fake check after fake check after fake check for thousands of dollars in the mail, um, which in my opinion is definitely consistent with what they do in this program. They knew that it was cold out. This is how they got me into a situation where I owed back rent. Um, this is how they got me into that situation to begin with. Because if they had never scammed me to begin with, you see, I'd have all my expenses paid for, my bills, my payments, whatever, and I would actually have most of my debts paid off right now. And I'd probably have some money in savings. I'd probably have a few $1,000s left, 4 or 5 grand left for savings. Well, they didn't want that to happen. And when I say they, I mean the organized, stalking, degenerate, idiot douchebags that are projecting people. They're throwing their issues at me, and that's why I don't fuck with people anymore. Like, I don't talk to people. I don't socialize with people. I'll look at you, but I won't probably talk to you. And that's most people. If it do, it's just small talk. Get in and out, get out of there. Um, Type of interaction with people. But I've basically, making these videos. They hate these videos. The organized criminals that are involved with this shit, they hate these videos. Now, if I do find my name's on a federal watch list this week, it's going to cost, in the state of Indiana, you got to go. Here are the steps you got to do. You can do it online or you can do it in person. Where I have to do it in person because I've got to go get my fingerprints. I've got to get them mailed to the FBI, and I've got to pay the fee to do it, and then I get the federal background check report. So I'm going to see, and then if my name is on a federal watch list, I'm going to publicly put it on YouTube, probably, or social media, and get into the fact that there's really no legitimate, like whoever put me on the watch list was jealous of me or envious. These people that do this are a lot of this is driven by jealousy. A lot of this is driven by hate. A lot of it's driven by it's not just people agreeing to do it. They're driven by the fact that they want to steal your ideas, and they basically want everything you have. They don't want to pay any money for it, and they want to put you in scenarios where you become in debt or whatever. After they scam you, attempted all these scams, still fail. They're committed, and I tell you, they're going to be committed probably for the remainder of my life on this earth until I'm dead. They're probably going to try to continue the scams, the lies. They've done the same thing in the dating situation. So they make sure everybody on Facebook dating is either a perp, a bot, an NCP, or a degenerate, or some idiot. So I don't even mess with most of these dating. I've only, in the past, this is before the organized stalking got really bad, I was only able to get a person here and there, and I'm an attractive dude. I'm a smart, good-looking dude, and so that tells me there was something going on, and the more it kept going on and on and on and dragging out for years, I began to understand, like, there's something going on here. There's some sort of blacklisting, or people are working together to undermine, or downplay. Like I said, another. Well, I want to actually change the title of this. I'm going to call it minimizing. Because they do want to minimize any success that I have, or prevent that full extent of that potential successful like accomplishment from being completed. They want things incomplete. You would think, now this is so weird to me, because you would think, and I know it's spiritual, but you would think if you wanted a better system, you would have productive members of society that are able to pay their bills. You want your money, well, you got to allow me to make money. If I'm not allowed to make a lot of money, then why am I being allowed to only make some money? And I understand there's other players out there and there's other companies out there. But based on where I'm positioned on Google, I mean, I am getting more clicks. I am getting more leads. I'm going to make some substantial changes to my website today to take the lead, take the win, take the victory. And if I don't, it wouldn't surprise me, because I got confronted by the mental health professionals at Community North for ranking my website number 1 on Google, and was trafficked in there by the Indianapolis Police Department and the Westfield Police Department, because they basically glitched out of the matrix and had outranked everybody on Google, meaning I took the lead and I took all the traffic. That wasn't an accident. I knew what I was doing, and I followed a tutorial on a video step by step on how to do that. And it seems like anytime I'm about to either get it, it's like they hit me with a drowsy signal, or they distract me. They try to distract me. Another thing they'll try to do is to try to get you on drugs and alcohol. I would absolutely deny getting on any of that. Heavy alcohol use is definitely a trap. Definitely a trap in organized stalking. Don't do that, or any hard drugs. Even consistent marijuana still changes the physiology, of the brain. It still changes the chemistry and all that. So it's like, this stuff's not worth it. External validation's not worth it. I don't need it. I really do not need it. What I do need is more sales. What I do need is more conversions. And that's how you can tell this is a money play. This is a power play from these criminals. By them blacklisting us, minimizing TI, underpaying them, or trying to get free work, out of the person. in a sort of indirect way where it's like, oh, you might be in debt to them or you whatever. Now they'll get you tied, pinned up on something, tied up on. At least they have me. So I've been tied up in several scenarios with my family, trying to hang shit over my head, guilt trip me. If they don't have anything to talk about, they'll start guilt tripping me. They'll start gaslighting me. They are trying to make my life. For example, Square Incorporated has $144 of mine that is definitely all my money. They told me over 90 days ago that they would release my funds. It's still sitting in the account. I'm not allowed to contact or call anyone from Square. I was recently until I reported them. Once I reported them to the Better Business Bureau and to some of these other, attorney state general. So I'm still looking in the account. I see exactly $144.60 that I cannot access. You don't know how much that would help me right now if I could access my own money, get my own money out of my account, and actually have access to my money. Now, they've been playing games like this for me for about 20 years. They've destroyed, or I won't say destroyed. They haven't destroyed me. They've altered and rearranged the quality of my life for the past decade and a half, almost 17 years straight. They've overtly stalked me and harassed me. There's no doubt in my mind that there are military personnel involved. There are universities involved. Now, I'm not saying military is just all bad, and it's not. There's different fractions. There's different factions. There's different, secret societies. And I notice a lot of the secret societies do have a militant or military connection. Tell me if you agree with that. The NSA is definitely involved with this, National Security Agency, at the very top. And within these departments, as stated by Ted Gunderson, now I'm not quoting the man, but he stated there are rogue entities, rogue groups that work in these police departments that do work actively, almost as police, FBI, or FBI gang members. They work as a criminal enterprise, a criminal gang. Okay, they work together to undermine their victim, to run PSYOPs, which are short for psychological operations, on the targeted individual. Stages 1 through 5 is stated perfectly from another TI, and the TI does become aware that there are 5 stages without being told, just by living it. So the 5 stages are as follows: the detailed report, the profile that's made of the victim. It's all false. It's all based on lies too. To undermine, again, destroy the reputation, destroy the popularity of the victim locally in whatever environment they're placed in. That happens. The second stage, we move on to the covert surveillance. That's when they secretly are watching you. Then they openly do it in the third stage. That's the overt surveillance. In the fourth stage, you've got the all-out attack after attack after attack, and that's usually sustained for decades. That's sustained, for years upon years, to try to get. Now, this is what I've really gathered from the fourth stage. That's where they want you. In the third and fourth stage, that's when they want you to question yourself and go back and basically be second guessing and hesitating, with whoever's doing what. They want the person to take themselves out. Eventually, a lot of people take themselves out and kill themselves. That's what the program is designed to do. It's designed to condition. It can be designed to train. A lot of times it can be designed to recruit the target. So that's the fourth stage. The fifth stage is the elimination and removal from the community and society by either death, suicide, or homicide of some kind, by driving them completely insane, completely nuts, over and over and over again. Again, these narcissists that do this, that are part of these programs, have normalized this within the government and non-governmental entities. They will try to paint you as incompetent or, life's hard, whatever, all that. I understand that life can, and it is, but I've had a lot of things happen where it's undeniable. Like I said, blacklisted from eBay, blacklisted from Square. Can't pull a bitch on Facebook dating. Like I said, I'm a very good looking dude. There's absolutely no exception for that. So it's got to be some sort of algorithm or Faraday information cage that they've got us in a loop. Those are real too, so they can send modified search results on Google, diluted, saturated results on search engines, um, and stuff of that nature to convolute the entire message that's being basically infiltrated from the end user, which is whoever's using that device, is then getting misconstrued information that definitely doesn't align with truth. It aligns with a bogus program, a bogus colluded effort, to, drive somebody nuts or exclude them. A lot of exclusion is included. It'll probably be the tactic of my title of my next video will be called being excluded. And then once trying to insert myself back into certain situations, that's where I said on the last video that wasn't uploaded, weird energy. That's a Machiavellian tactic, 48 laws of power. See, I'm very well informed. They may think I'm a nerd or whatever. I'm not. I'm just a very well informed dude. They're actually the weirdos. I'm very, very well informed. Very well informed on this program. I've done my research, my homework. I've read article after article. I've read Quora after Quora, Reddit after Reddit, video after video. I've poured hours. What I thought was wasting time. I thought I was wasting time doing it. Maybe sometimes I did waste a little bit too much time on this because there's things that I still have to do. Here's another good test. Once the TI puts on even more pressure, they get resistance. Most of the time they get ignored, excluded, or resisted. Or there's some sort of friction or animosity that's created from pushing forward. Okay, I've got blank, blank, and blank. I've got 5 to 10 tasks. I'm going to get them all done today in this order, this time. It's going to take me this amount of time to get each task done. Great, move on to the next objective. Great, move on to the next goal. Great, move on to the next deadline. I've got deadlines, due dates, and timelines for all my objectives and tasks that need to be completed within a certain time frame and time lapse. I don't have time to lose. So you notice that the ironic thing is, like, when I push forward on this, they push back or they ignore. Like I said, they use the Machiavellian shit or the 48 laws of power or the secret, tactics to get you to doubt yourself, to get us to doubt ourselves. That's where I'm even more certain. Oh, that's weird. I draw the foul. So when they make the weird energy, I use exploitation. I said, well, that's weird. Okay. I said, well, that's not normal. I remember something else. That's definitely, and I'm very certain. I look them square in the eye. I'm very certain when I say that. I remember something else. And I'll say it with absolute, now I do. And it works. When you're certain, when I'm certain of myself, very confident and oh no, I know I'm not always right, but I know this one is absolutely my truth. And this is absolutely right. These narcissists want us to defend our truths and put fortresses and barriers around our truths. Otherwise, it's just not believable to them. So that's why I document today is April 12th, Sunday, 2026. It is 9:54 a.m. I'm very certain that I'm involved in this program. Like I said, and I have to do this now they know that I know what to buy. That's why they're trying like hell to limit and scam how much money I can make, whether I'm a business owner or not. Since I've become a small owner, solopreneur, it's been better. It's gotten slightly better over the past year. Now I've been doing things myself before and being employed, self-employed, and I had done better. Now I noticed when I pushed forward again, it pissed a lot of Karens off, a lot of like old ladies, postmenopause cunts. It pissed them off, and they were driving around in traffic, looking at me. I knew they were behind me, and the way they were looking at me in my rear view was they were just jealous. They were angry, and they looked almost like they were like mob bosses' wives or some shit. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. And that's the whole thing is, you can take pictures of license plates all you want. I do it because that's a proof of um, placement of something that, is following, you can prove following by the placement of this license plate. Just, I'm seeing these license plates everywhere I go. Sometimes with weird themes attached to them, sometimes with innuendo and, messages that something I just did or said that would be then imprinted on the back of a license plate. And I'm not saying that that's always involved, but I'm saying that sometimes that's another thing you guys have reported. Plus everything else you're dealing with, you're definitely not mentally ill. You're definitely not delusional. That's not just your life's just hard or whatever. No, these things are being orchestrated. People are being tipped off to some stuff. They'll tell people you know too much. You're a terrorist, you're a pedophile, you're a chomo, you're a drug dealer, whatever they can make up. You're a drug dealer. Or at the slightest. The only thing they have on me is my background. When you go back on my background, okay, you can see that there is some stuff I've been arrested for. I have 10 results. They made me out to look like some monster. That's because of what they're doing. These people that are pointing the finger are actually doing this stuff they're accusing TIs of committing. So the very same crimes that they're accusing me of, they'll actually provoke and lie to everybody else, creating more frustration in the targeted individual. He's doing this or he's doing that, or he or she's doing this or that. They're really doing it, and they're blame shifting themselves because they're actually getting away with slow murder. This is attempted murder. Putting someone in a situation of back rent, that's murder. That is murder. Why do you think all the white collar crimes out here that are actually taken serious pertaining to money? Those guys get life sentences for stealing too much money. So actually, in a perfect world, with actual rules that are enforced and consequences that are enacted from those violations of those rules, we would actually see these guys doing life sentences in prison for murdering my money. If you murder my money, you are committing murder to my body. You murdered they murdered me more this winter. Okay, they've killed me. They probably, in essence, in theory, the goal is slow kill. So the goal is to slowly take years off your life that you would have otherwise had. So I might have lived longer if I would have had an extra $20,000 to $30,000 this winter. Since I was deprived of that and scammed of that, I was murdered more. I was deprived of more life, meaning my overall quality of life was downgraded, meaning my cortisol and all my other chemicals in my body of stress and lack thereof had increased. Being deprived, starved. They've gotten it so bad for me where I've had to go to homeless shelters. I've had to go to food pantries multiple times. There's actually not one year, except for the last year, where I wouldn't have to have done that. And still this past year, like I said, this winter was brutal. Brutal. You can't think I'm ever going to do another winter like that and let that happen. I'm not going to let it happen. I'm telling you, stalkers, right now, on the stalker side of this, I'm aiming this right at you. No matter how big and bad you think you are, what I own does not belong to you. And what I work for is mine. And unless I owe a debt or a bill, you're not getting my fucking money. You're not murdering me more than what you've already murdered. You've already slowly chipped away at my sanity. You have slowly infiltrated my mind. You've planted seeds of doubt, and you've gotten me to second guess and hesitate when I knew I was right about what was correct for my path. So no, I'm not going to come at you soft. I'm not going to come at you respectful. I'm not going to come at you and kiss your ass, because that's not what I do anymore. I live my life, and if you don't like it, we're going to part ways. And I get away from danger. I get away from danger as soon as I see it. That's why I said it's small talk, small talk. Smile and wave at these people, man. That's all it is with me. Coming for me, that's all it is. I don't take them serious. I take them as a serious threat, because they are the threat. They're destroying the Constitution in real time. Neglecting people of civil rights, treating us as second-class citizens when we're really not. Most of these people are no better looking than we are, or smarter than we are. The same, system. Here's the thing. The other thing, this same system was created by people who are no smarter or better looking than we are. And that's the truth. But then you can get down to bloodlines and all that. And yeah, that does matter, because this whole system is clearly ran by royalty. The whole system is ran by the monarchs. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Everybody knows that. But then there's got to be people that are promised something, to make the system seem believable, make it seem like people have got a chance in life. They've got to actually give you the illusion that everybody has an opportunity at a life. Everybody can make something for themselves as long as they work hard and smart enough. And that's not true. I'm going to shatter that illusion. There are some people out here that are not allowed to make $0 a month. That is modern day slavery. I'm not on that. I'm not that bad, but they have gotten me to the point where they've hacked every opportunity. They've stolen cryptocurrency. They have stolen unemployment money that I had while I was in a fucking at the third phase over there. I'm going to tell you something else. I busted that place. I helped bust that place. They were running a sex operation over there, and I basically part of this sex cult. Oh, that goes into something else. And it ties into third phase in the homeless shelters. They will try to recruit people into these sex cults from some of these homeless shelters. They'll use them to traffic bodies. I'm certain of it. Why do you think people go missing? Do you think it's just because they know too much? No, they want something from you, whether it be your body, your assets, all of it. Disappear people. Knock a few birds out with one stone, shut them up, get his clothes, do rituals, do a sacrifice. I'm sure they've done sacrificial murders on targets. I'm sure they have. I'm almost certain they have. Why else would they go? Why else would they disappear people? Well, they might know too much in their opinion. That's just their opinion. That's not my opinion. We're going to agree on something. We don't agree. That's what we're going to have to agree on, that we just don't agree on certain things. And that's okay. Do I hate them? Yes, I do. Will I forgive them? No, God can do that. I am not going to forgive them. I'm not going to forgive these people. That's why I said most of them now, it's just a dirty look. I give them the dirty look. You give me a dirty look, I'll give you a dirty look right back. I'm a person too. I'm going to hold my ground. You're gonna threaten me. I'm gonna threaten you back. You're gonna walk up on me. Well, I'm gonna probably beat your ass, or try to. So and I'm armed. I've got guns. I've got knives, and I don't plan on using them on people unless I have to. They're there just in case. Just in case they want to get too aggressive with me, and they want to get too cocky with me. I'm gonna shut that shit down. Like I said, I'm 32, been dealing with this my whole life, overtly, 16, 17 years openly, where they likely want me to know that it's happened. There's this very strong propensity that they want me to know from that time frame. So I'll admit there's some things in my past I'm not proud of, and I ask for God's forgiveness, and I'm not perfect and all that stuff, but um, nothing to the point where I would have put in this thing for a lifelong sort of experiment. My family's involved with it. My little brother's, like I said, involved with that. My brother, my mom, my dad. I haven't talked to my mom in like 4 or 5 years. I don't plan on ever talking to her again. Unless she gives me a real apology and she says, look, I'm sorry. They made me do it or they forced me to do it. Because at this point, with what I've been dealing with, it's too obvious. It's just too in your face. I'm in the mechanic shop every month, every couple months. I can't go 6 months plus without getting serious repairs that I can't afford. They cannot and will not allow it to happen. And if I don't have my security system running all the time, they will be in your car. They'll be in your car breaking in, stealing shit, and being like, well, I don't know, people have told me all the time, I probably misplaced it. And that's the other thing. I have misplaced stuff before. Well, using drugs and alcohol all the time, what's that going to make you do? Misplace things more. Being on drugs, you're going to misplace things more. The whole reason why this was a perfect opportunity for these guys to minimize me was because they used any factored thing they could use to socially make me look inept. Oh, he's on drugs. Well, who put me on the drugs? My family. My family put me on drugs. They were lied to. Okay, they were lied to when I was a kid. They were told that I need to be put on psych meds, all these different meds. None of them cured anything. None of them made anything better permanently. It's like curing cancer. They don't want that to happen because that cuts away from treatment. Treatment's more profitable than curing something. If we're going to be real about it, if we're honestly going to be mathematical about it, I mean, let's be real. That's why treating, and that's why they want you on psych meds. It's a treatment plan. It's never a cure. You're never going to be mentally cured. It's a bandage or a crutch at the very least. It's a temporary fix. That's why all of those pills that I took, I'm not saying all pills are bad because some of them were, but all the pills I've taken long term ended up not working, ended up I'd be immune to them, or I'd gain a lot of weight, 40, 50 pounds at least overweight, at least 30 pounds overweight. So 30 to 50 pounds overweight. I can't run. I can't bend down. I smell like chemicals under my armpits. It smells like toxic chemicals. That's because it's being stored in your body. Some of these chemicals don't break down that well, so it's coming out of your pores. It's mixing with toxic metal. Most of the water is already poison anyway. They put fluoride in there, so that's another form of that's a form of medication. And then they fluoridate medication too. So they put sodium fluoride in the medication. This is a lot to break down, but I've been on every psych med under the sun. I've been on Zoloft. I've been on Prozac. I've been on albuterol. I've been on prednisone. That's a steroid. I've been on Prozac, Paxil, Zoloft, Wellbutrin, Lexapro. They put me on hydrocodone for a little bit. They put me on Klonopin, put me on clonazepam, Daytrana, Vyvanse, Adderall, hydroxyzine. They put me on some heavy sedatives. They put me on. I'll admit this one does work. Gabapentin was decent. That was actually a decent one. They put me on some heavy tranquilizers. They put me on Haldol. I had a seizure from that. Put me on another one that was just like Haldol. Had a seizure on that. So it's just never ending. Prescribe. And then they started giving me attitude over at the pharmacy. They knew like that they knew that I knew it was bullshit. What I would eventually just stop taking the pills and save them and all that. But I just kept playing the game and going to the pharmacy and picking up my meds regardless. It was playing the little game to make them think that I was still on pills, but really that was destroying me more because it was making it look like in the system that I was strung out on their meds. But yeah, they'll, the truth of it is easier to become more forgetful if consistent alcohol and consistent marijuana and other things are used. Someone's going to be more forgetful than if they weren't doing that, like partying like that. So I'll admit I have misplaced stuff because of that, but I'll also say this: not the amount of times that that would make me lose something. Not that frequently would I have lost something like that. So I know that there's some stuff that's camouflaged in, that's blended in to make it seem like, well, you're just partying already. I mean, you're bound to lose something. That coupled with the fact that partying all the time does make you more forgetful subtly, just a little bit more forgetful. So that is camouflaged to make it look like I lost something. So that's for the gas. So then I could actually lose something. I actually lost it, or I could be getting gaslit because hey, the fact of the matter is that stuff does make you lose stuff. Here's the fact of the matter. Here, you probably lost it, and a lot of times I go back and look for it, and it's like okay, maybe I did, or I didn't look. Sometimes I don't look good enough because my car is dirty. And it's not even that; it's just everything factored in. But that is another thing that's used. But yeah, yeah. With that, I'm going to get out of here pretty soon and get this one out there. The minimization and blacklisting. That's why we're minimized. We're blacklisted, and that's why we're minimized. We're not getting the same opportunities that other people are getting. We're not getting the same access to the system. Like I said, the royals control the whole system. Well, the royals are then controlling the underlings and the lower levels, bloodlines that they're breaking them off some money. And then they're deciding who they're breaking off, And then at the very bottom, you got targeted individuals who are looked at as like animals or second class people that they have to deal like livestock. That's all we are to these people. Livestock. We're not even looked at as citizens, as human beings. What does it mean to be a U.S. citizen? In a fake society, in a fake government officials, bunch of liars. And I would say 90-something% of them are all liars, all shit, all liars, all sold their soul. This is a heavily Masonic world we live in, and it's a heavily Masonic government we live in. Why do you think the Masonic lodges, none of them get shut down? If they do, they reemerge in another location because they're well funded. They're funded by the royals at the very top. A lot of royal descendants are tied to Freemasonry. So that's why royalty in your blood is like, it's like, that's why these, a lot of TIs don't have any of that stuff going on. We're targeted by the people that do, though. They do have that some sort of lineage or something that makes them feel like they have authority to undermine targeted individuals to control us. Like I said, the monarchs control the secret societies, control the governments, control the system, the NSA, the CIA. It trickles down. It's a trickling down effect of who they want to have, a guy that has $100 versus a guy that has 100,000 versus a guy that has a few million versus a guy that's has billions of dollars. And they want to control the pecking order, the hierarchy of the financial monetary gain system. So that's why everything is highly compartmentalized from the Federal Reserve, which was founded in 1913. It's privately owned. For crying out loud. If that's privately owned, That means it's not open to the masses. That means that the guys that are involved with the Federal Reserve have private VIP access to do what they want and please, and probably to break the law. If they feel like they want to fund something illegal, they're going to fund something illegal. This whole system runs off money. And if the whole system runs off money, and it's a corrupt system, that means the most corrupt people with the most money are making all the shots and covering up what they want to cover up, paying who they want to pay off, controlling the judges. That's why there's been little to no justice for most of us, because the whole system is already rigged. The court systems are rigged. For example, another cheesy little saying that one of the family members would tell me, he's like, "Oh, you want to take this to court? You want to sue people? Oh, it's you against the crook at town hall. Oh, it's you against town hall," in their word. Well, it is. The crooked. I'll just say not just the town. You can't just call it the town hall. You got to include the word crooked. It's the crooked town hall. It's the crooked government. Because the crooks are the ones who are thriving right now, currently the most. The crooked criminal, network members, the cult members. It's a global cult that spider webs and it breaks down and spreads out across all continents, across all countries. Anywhere there's banking, finance, healthcare, education, all those opportunities are already infiltrated and controlled by very dark people. And there are protocols. I have confirmed that, a nurse confirmed this, that there's a little protocol in organized stalking. Now, this came from another third party that told another TI. She said that the way they were hitting him, which was a lot less than how they're hitting me, she said, it looks like they're trying to get your organs. It looks like they're trying to traffic you. And he told her just a little bit of what they were doing. And then he told me this, and I'm dealing with it really hard, and I'm seeing Indiana Organ Donor Network, and I'm like, I used to be actually an Indiana Organ Donor. I was on the Indiana Organ Donor list, so it would make sense that they're trying to knock out a few birds with one stone. And I know that a nurse had confirmed this and finally admitted to my buddy, man, the way they're hitting you and your business and all that, they're definitely trying to get something out of you. He'd come out and his trailer would be disconnected, or he'd come out and his motor would be stolen out of his truck. Come out and then the maintenance guy is breaking into his storage unit trying to get his lawnmowers and stuff. Now, this guy doesn't own a business, the guy that was doing all this. Now, the guy that was targeting this TI was trying to get this guy's assets. He was trying to steal them. Not ask for permission. Hey, or do you want to sell that? Is there a price tag on that? Are you trying to liquidate? Are you looking to, resell anything here? Are you looking to get rid of some extra weight here? Didn't ask him any of those questions. Just went straight for the storage unit like a caveman and started rummaging through his belongings that he bought with his own money. I think I'm just going to dumpster dive through someone's storage. I would never feel like I would do that to someone. I would never want to do that. You could not pay me enough money to do that. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't make me feel like a fulfilled human being. I'm going through someone else's, just the thought of it. Just crazy, pure craziness. Like I said, the last brake lines on my Honda were cut, which means it is very symbolic with and identical with all the other activity of getting me into a car accident, which would result in my immediate death. That's stage 5. Like I said, this is stage 5. I was supposed to already be eliminated and gone a long time ago. Multiple death attempts on my life. I've had one verbal murder. Guy verbally told me he was going to come and kill me and shoot me. I said, bring it on. I'll be waiting. I gave him the address. The guy never showed up, called me from a California number. This guy was directly related to one of the friend group that I used to know, which was, they were all drug dealers anyway. They're all pot dealers. You would think that they would be getting gang stalked, but no, their lives are great. They're still doing the same thing to this day. They're still selling drugs to this day, and not getting arrested. Hey, you having any issues with your car? Oh no, my car runs great. I don't talk to these people anymore, but I look on My Case Indiana, they haven't been arrested. This guy told me specifically he was paying the cops off. Some of these people told me they were bribing people. So I think at one point they were about to recruit me into the criminal network, where their mindset is delusional. The best way you can commit a crime, if you get away, at least as long as you get away with it. Hey, as long as you get away with it, it's such an honor. Hey, you see how we, that's what's going through their mind too. Hey, you see how we pulled that one off? No one's got any proof. Hey, he's gonna, if he tries to sue us over that one, we've got plausible, all full blown deniability on it. There's no evidence. Looks like there's no case, no face, no case, and they snicker and laugh about it, like little kids, like little 5-year-olds that lost their recess ball. Because that's why they're doing it. They're projecting onto us their insecurities, so that's why they're doing they're going to the fullest extent. Group of narcissists that have agreed to pull this controlled programming on us. So I don't feel inadequate. I feel the best way to disarm them is look them square in the eye and say, I've got a different look on that. I've got a much further different opinion on that. And I'm willing to stand on my truth. I'm going to stand all day on my truth. And that pisses them off because now they can't get me to believe their shit. When the gaslighting doesn't work, the lies don't work, the smear campaign doesn't work, we come face to face with them in reality. That's when the last stage and the fifth stage, they avoid you and they're planning. They are planning the sneak attack, the ambush. They will get you comfortable. They will befriend you. They will infiltrate. Be careful. Be wise. Have discernment. Filtrate. I filtrate in my mind. What do I allow? Who do I allow? Who do I not allow? What access on what level? They're gonna, and what depth? What depth are they gonna understand what I tell them? And I control all that. I control all that. And no matter how bad somebody's trying to get information, I just control. Like I said, small talk with them. Surface level, how's the weather? It's looking good. Shit like that. Try to play them at their own game for once. I gaslight perps. I make fun of them. I laugh at them. Okay. I laugh in their face. I make fun of them. I bully them. I give them a hard time. I talk shit about them because that's what they're doing about me. So I do it right back and they don't like it. So then they avoid me and they say, I'm the bad guy. Well, you attacked me first. You're the bad guy. I'm just defending myself at this point. So you're really the piece of shit. So don't get it twisted. That is what they are. Feel very confident that we are right about what we're talking about because we are. We're not wrong. There's too many people saying the same shit for it to be wrong. Where's my money out of my account? Not there. 90 days. I was promised. Still not there. I'm not ever planning on getting that money back. No. Not going to get it back. It's going to be pulling teeth to try to get it back. All the other things I've dealt with, like some of the money I've lost. Yeah, if I win a lawsuit, I would say I'm going to have a lawsuit against this. At least a small claims win. Now, winning against the state, now, like I said, that's a completely different it's got to be black and white. The legal system, they don't like gray areas, so it's going to be a black and white win against the mechanic. It's going to be a gray area. They're gonna call it a gray area. Well, sir, can you prove it? It's called a case with merit. Is that a case with merit? Well, it may be to you, but is it to our corrupt system that has plenty of loopholes to bypass civil rights violations? No. We can bypass. We can skip through this and overlook it because we're going to say here's their trick. They'll stop for 2 years sometimes. You notice they'll stop for exactly 2 years, and then something else will happen 2 years later. Why is that? That's a statute of limitations, exactly. That's a 2-year statute of limitations, meaning within 2 years, if no violation is committed, no crime is committed, they are free, unless here's the loophole, and this does have context that a lawyer would know better than I would. So don't quote me on this. Unless the statute of limitations is reopened, the only way it can be reopened past 2 years on the same violation is if you became aware of it. And you can prove that you just became aware of it after 2 years. That, wait a minute, after 2 years later, I'm aware that 3 years later, that thing happened, even though within the statute should have closed a year ago. Well, in some contexts, you can prove it and you can win. In my opinion, they keep opening the statute of limitations. They keep reopening and refreshing that page. So, which means I'm probably going to have a win. I'm definitely going to have a win against the mechanic. He is non-compliant. He's not calling me back. He's not emailing me back. He's not compliant in any way whatsoever, which shows avoidance, which shows he knows he's caught, he knows he's guilty, and he wants to avoid all contact possible and hope that this will just be brushed under the rug. And it's not going to be. You see, if by him not complying is also another lawsuit, it's non-compliance. He doesn't want to give me proof of financial record, of financial purchase. That's non-compliance. That's unlawful. That's uncivilized. So that's a legal tender transaction. You have to provide proof that transaction occurred exactly on that date and timestamp. You legally have to provide that information. And for him to not legally provide that information, he's in violation of the law. So he also put myself and other people in danger by me driving with brake calipers that are leaking. So that was very dangerous because then my brake wouldn't break. Well, that's also consistent with the last vehicle I had where my brake lines were cut on the way to the mechanic shop. My brake lines were cut. I had no brakes. All I had was an e-brake. We all know if you're going 60 to 70 miles an hour and you e-brake, you are going to spin or flip out. You can't e-brake going that fast. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't risk it. With that, I'm going to get out of here. This is a longer video. The word needs to get out there. It's not always about raising awareness. It's about testimonials, myself and other people. One more person that says, no, I'm not okay with that. I'm making videos. That's why I'm doing it. I'm not okay with it. I'm making videos. I'm frustrated. I've been ripped off, unimaginably ripped off. And the truth of it is these guys do not have the right to, I confidently reassure you, it's reassurance too. They don't have the right to do what they're doing. They're not above us. They think they are. I've proven that they think they are. They're not. They're not better than we are. They just want to believe so badly that they can become better than we are or be better than we are. In whatever way that looks to them and us, whatever the way that appears. So with that, I'm going to get out of here and get going, get some breakfast. Bye.